What is happening, everybody? Hope everybody's having a fantastic whatever day you're watching this. So, we're doing a bit of a throwback show tonight. I probably should have called this Mopar Chat Live. Haven't done a true Mopar Chat Live in a long time. But of late, I've been getting more and more requests for advice on modifying, say, a 6.1 like in an old SRT8 or 5.7 cars. I'm getting a few more requests for chats about the 6.4 liter. So I wanted to do a quick chat. This way you guys can jump in. You can ask whatever questions you want. So we can talk about whatever you want, but in this show, I'll be focusing primarily on the do's and don'ts on modifying your Hemi powered contraption. And I want to make this real clear. This isn't one of those, oh, I'm all optimistic about what you're going to be doing with your car. A lot of Mopar guys need to hear the tough love side of modifications. And you need to know the reality. I think too often guys get online and they see somebody doing something, whatever, and it's with some car, right? Usually some kind of Hellcat, some kind of off the wall, off the charts build or whatever, and they get some kind of an idea that they can emulate that. You can't, okay? Not unless you have, practically speaking, unlimited funds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about, I'm just going to do it in order, 5.7 and then 6.4/6.1, and then if you want to get into the Hellcat stuff, we can. I don't want to dive too deep into the Hellcat side of things because the problem with the Hellcat is it's almost like a waste of time. To talk about the Hellcat, most guys tune out immediately because most people don't have one. Most people have an RT Challenger or Charger and maybe a Scat Pack. But the reality is that the Hellcat crowd, I got to be honest, man, I am pretty tired of it. If I can put it in a more plain way, I'm bored with it. And so I would rather talk about the NA stuff, but if you've got questions about Hellcats, I will absolutely answer them. So before I start diving into that, I want to check in with my early birds and then we will get rocking. Marco is in. What's up, buddy? First in, Hard Rock. Good seeing you, buddy. Lime is in. Good evening, everybody. Ryan is in saying, sup, Professor? Seen a little Red Express near me. Wanted 25 grand for a rust heap. So sad. Well, there is that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and this is, and we can talk, this is a kind of a topic for another show, but it's a reason why I'm not into classics. And it's because of stuff like what you just pointed out. Somebody wanting, pick six lottery money for some rusted out, clapped out car. Well, we can touch on it for just a second. So, Smoking Hot Wife and I were talking about this, like what would be a next car, like an older, like a disco era Camaro would be cool, or, just something along those lines. And the funny thing is the further I start to dive into it, the more cuckoo it starts to sound, because these cars are getting to an age where all the not sexy parts have to be fixed. What do I mean by that? I mean, if it's a unibody car, subframe connector bushings, all of your steering hardware, all of the brake calipers, master cylinders, freaking brake lines, everything that makes the car able to be driven down the street in a safe manner in high performance applications, whatever. All of that stuff's got to be replaced, along with, rag joints for the steering boxes. All of this stuff has got to be replaced. And none of it is sexy, none of it is cool, and none of it adds to the fun of driving a car. It's just maintenance crap. The problem is that you're going to be $5,000 or $7,000 deep into a lot of these components. And I'm sorry, but I can't wrap my head around that concept. This stuff is way too expensive. I would rather have a 6th or a 5th gen Camaro with an LS3 than any of this older stuff that's come out. And there's nothing from Dodge that I would rather have other than say maybe a, an SRT8 circa 2010, or, maybe something along the lines of, I don't know, maybe a 18 or 19 RT or Scat Pack, something like that. But the older stuff, oh my gosh, man, forget about it. There's no way, because it's just not worth it. Or you can do that Charger rebody of the Challenger. I don't know if y'all have seen that, but holy crap, is that a good looking car? But again, it's all money. That's all it is. So anyway, let me check back in with you guys and we'll get into this. Ryan saying it's so much stuff to take off, just the parts that need to replace, pretty much full rust. Oh, forget it, man. There's no way I'm buying into that. Okay, so guys, look, so getting back, we're gonna do an old school show tonight. So do's and don'ts for a 5.7 Hemi. If you've got a vehicle with a 5.7 Hemi, and here, the trucks are a little bit different story. But if you've got a car, do yourself this favor. If you want to spend money on this thing, and you've got, say, $5,000 or $6,000 to spend, long tube headers, pick a cat back, put a tune on it, and put a decent summer tire on the back of it. Put a K&N filter in the airbox if you want, and call it done. Call it done. That's it. That's all you've got to do to that car. Some guys will say, well, put the 373 gear in it from, or the 370 gear in it from a Hellcat. Okay, you can do that too. Okay, do that. But that's it. That's all I would do with that car. As a matter of fact, if I had it my way, and I could do a build right now, I would put together that particular combination in a 5.7 and just have a very fun, very lively street car. Oh, and this is the other thing. Before I dive even deeper into this, there's going to be a kind of a resounding theme: street car. Okay. This platform does not make for a good race car, period. Like, full stop. Next question. If you want a race car, like an honest to God race car, build an honest to God race car. What just drives me absolutely bananas crazy is when I see guys and you hear guys trying to make a car that weighs as much as the Dodge weighs. Pick one. It doesn't matter which one it is. Trying to turn that into a race car, because what ends up happening is you will have a ton of power but way too much weight to try to move, and it is never going to be a number fetching platform. It's just not. Not without a ton of money thrown at it. Somebody's going to go, oh, you're full of shit. I got a buddy that's got yeah, your buddy has sunk more money and regrets every dime at this point that he's ever put into that car. I promise you, and I know this for a fact, because working for Pikes and being on this channel now for how many years? Everybody that's ever built a mid 9-second Mopar, that mid 9-second Mopar in any other platform would be a low 9-second or a high 8-second car. And these are commonplace types of modifications that you'll see with these things. When we're talking about the Hellcat. So don't believe me. And the statistic is, this is one that never fails to amaze me. Everybody that has built a mid 9-second car gets rid of it within a year. Every single last one of them. So yeah, be on the lookout. There's always some mid 9-second Hellcat for sale. So if they can get sick of a mid 9-second Hellcat, how tired of a low 12-second 5.7 car are you going to be? It doesn't, oh my God, I kept up with a Scat Pack. Who cares? Nobody cares about that but you. And the problem is that oh, well, it's my car. It's my, yeah, it is. It is, but we all have to tolerate that. It's like this car becomes the entire personality of the person. Like the car shows up and you get out of it, right? So build the 5.7 the way that I'm saying, and it's going to be just a fun ass car to drive, plenty powerful. It'll go as fast as you can stand on the street, and it will sound amazing. It will look the part, and it won't be taxing on drivetrain components. And that's the main thing that I want to drive home here too. This is one of the reasons why I like 5.7 cars so much. You can put a 5.7 car together that is so sweet to drive, and you will never have a driveline problem with it. In hundreds of thousands of miles, you will not have a driveline issue with it. How do I know this? Because my work truck Buffy is coming up on 20 something thousand miles. I drive that thing hard, and all I do is maintain it. That's it. Nothing else. There's nothing special done. That truck still has the factory rear diff and transmission fluid in it, guys. Still works great. Now it is an open diff. If it were a limited slip, I'd say, yeah, no, you need to be swapping that out about every 40 to 50,000 miles. But you know what I'm getting at. Transmission's never been serviced, not once. And again, I run the living hell out of that truck, 220,000 miles. It weighs 5,500 pounds. Yeah, you think that there would be some kind of wear and tear, but the truck just keeps on rocking. That is the goal for your 5.7 car. Don't try to put something together that, oh, I'm going to go race a scat pack. If you're in the business of racing scat packs with your 5.7 car, man, you're barking up the wrong tree. Seriously. So stick with the program. Build you this is the car that I would like to have. I mean, I'm big into the, the scat pack thing and all of that, but a well done 5.7 car is choice to drive. But let's say that I rolled across the scat pack that I should have bought, which would be like a 2017 or a 2018 base model scat pack. White. What would I do with the scat pack platform? Okay. When it comes to the exhaust system, don't do anything. Leave it alone. You might want to put a different cat back on the car, just for a different look, like from an aesthetic. MagnaFlow makes a nice one, especially if you want to delete that rear resonator. I get that 100%. So do that, okay? Put a tune on it. Hellcat airbox with a Hellcat filter, and do the if it's got the brake cooling ducts, if it's like an SRT or something like that. I don't think the Scatties had this, but they had brake cooling ducts. Do the brake duct mod so it forces cold air up into the fender well. Let's see, divide by 6, carry the 1. Yeah, that's it. That's all I would do to that car. And that car on a sticky, and put a really good summer tire on the back of it. Falcon, what is it, FK 510s that I was running on the Hellcat. Put those on the car and get 275 45s for the rear. Leave the front stock. It'll have a nice little stance to it. And that's it. Now you've got the perfect scat pack. And you might say, well, what about a cam, Mason? You're the one that puts cams together. You're the guy that has this portfolio, people trying to get cams from you. Yeah, I do. I have put cams together for people. Demonology has one of my cams in his car. One of my cams is also in Prestige Motorsports car. But that being said, for the Scatty, yeah, you can do it, but I don't know that the juice is worth the squeeze, because what you'll gain in upper RPM power, which is about 30 or 40 horsepower, way on the other end of the scale, you lose some of that pop, that snap that 392 is so good at. And this is, again, what I want to focus on, is building the just right street car. Notice I'm the guy that is the one that puts camshaft profiles together for shops. And I'm telling you, don't put a camshaft in it. If the guy that is the one that designs the camshafts is telling you not to do it, don't freaking do it. Okay. But anyway, getting back to it, the fact of the matter is, if you build the Scat Pack and you do it just right, that car is going to be so sweet to drive. It's going to be fast as hell. The thing will do 150 miles an hour before you really, I mean, it will still do like stupid numbers. It's not a roll race car. It never will be. It is just a big, brutish American muscle car. There is nothing wrong with that. And to throw camshafts at it, yeah, you can. One of my smaller cams is the one that I recommend the most. And it picks up about 30 or 40 horsepower, and it allows you to run with those pesky Mustangs from a roll race. But don't get into don't get the wrong idea that the Scat Pack is just going to absolutely, be able to run with one of the Mustangs from a roll. They're too heavy. They don't have the aerodynamic capability up top. If you can catch one at the drag strip, you can give them hell, though. That's where the Scat Packs put in their best work. Ask me how I know. But that being said, build it for the street and it will be an awesome car, but don't take it any further than that. One of the things that used to drive me absolutely nuts was when guys would get really stupid with the what am I trying to say here? When guys would get really dumb with like cutting the exhaust and just doing some stuff that it was like it was ruining the car. Yet these cars would come into the shop and I would have to do the initial data log on the thing. And I would end up doing like a preliminary tune, or Alex would tune it. I would clean up the transmission tune. And it was like, my God, man, all of this work going into this car and we're never going to get anything out of it. In terms of like a clean result, like something you go, man, this is nice. That's the thing that you want to try to have when it comes to the Mopars. Now, if you want to go with a cam, okay, I'm not going to get into boost either. Just no, don't. That's something else. Don't do it. The reason why I want to say don't do it is if you spend that kind of money on a 5.7, you could have had a Scat Pack, right? Which would be about the same power-ish, right? But if you put boost on a Scatty or any of the 6.4s, the problem is that now you're coming outside of what that HP 70 transmission is realistically going to be able to manage long term. It really needs to have an HP 90 from the factory, if I'm being honest, but it doesn't. And so if you start trying to get too like creative, especially with the 6.4, you're missing the boat entirely with that car. It's okay. So why do I say that? Okay. So you put a big cam in that car, the intake manifold isn't designed to deal with that. It's not. And so because it's not designed to deal with the extra RPM, it's not designed to deal with the profile of that camshaft and where it makes peak power or peak torque, it's always going to be a bit of a mismatch. It works great with the stock cam or with a small cam, but you try to go too big and you end up with a car that it's almost good. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. It's just, it's not as good as it could be. So anyway, there's that to consider when it comes to boost. That's why I try to just steer clear of it. It's too expensive to end up spending that kind of money on a car like that. You should just trade it in on a Hellcat if that is really what you're talking about, trying to get into in terms of those power numbers. And for anybody that will argue that point, all I can remind you of is HP 90 transmission is way underrated. The Hellcat whole platform is built as a large supercharged car. The other ones aren't. And I can tell you from experience that Hellcats are practically freaking bomb-proof. Yes, they're big. Yes, they're heavy. No, they're not going to compete when it comes to outright speed. but they will keep competing at long after the other cars break something or blow up. So there you have it. Period. Like full stop again. The Hellcat's the slowest of the fast cars, and it is the most bomb-proof of the fast cars. Go figure, right? So what else is there to talk about? Nitrous? No, don't do that either. Again, transmissions, although they're very robust. I'll put it to you like this: on a Mustang dyno, at about 535 pound-feet of torque at the rear tires, they start to slip. It'll be a little bit sooner than that if you're hitting it with nitrous. And I know I'm the guy that would put the nitrous tunes together for the cars. So I've done quite a few of them, and every time it was sketchy sometimes with how those things would spin or would flash the transmissions. Never a good thing. But yeah, listen, and I know that this is not the sexiest live show to listen to, with somebody getting on here going, oh, you want to modify your Mopar? Don't do it. Listen, the money that I save you, first of all, the headaches that I'll save you, I mean, that's worth the super chat. But the other side of it too is the money that you save by not going stupid with your Mopar, you can spend on saving up for the next level up if you're into Mopar. So if you got a 5.7 and you're going, man, look, I did your long tubes, I did your 373 gear, I did your tune. I want more. I want to put a blower on the car. I want to do whatever. I'm going to tell you, don't do that. First of all, if you've got that combination, hit your boy up, let me know about it. I might just take it off your hands. But no, if you've got that combination and you're like, okay, what I really want to do is I want to move up. I want to get it. I want to make the same power as a Scat Pack. Then buy a freaking Scatty. If you like the big Mopar and you want to have the more power, save up for the down payment or save up for whatever, however financially you're going to be able to pull this off, and trade it in or sell the car and get your Scatty. Because it is absolutely, you will kill the value, like murder, bang, bang, the value, bad, like both barrels blasting. If you go and start putting boost or nitrous or all the rest of the stupid stuff on the car, I'll put it to you like this. If it doesn't pass the chick test, don't do it. All right. If this is something that a chick would walk up to and go, oh, that's nice, that's a good thing to do. If a chick walks up to it and goes, ew, then that's something you don't want. And that's how it has to be with Mopars. These cars are way too expensive to be like trying to be cute with. Don't try to be creative. You're not that creative. Trust me. You're not, and you're not going to beat the recipe either. This is where guys really screw up. If you're going to build a Mopar, stick to the recipe, right? Like we're baking a cake here. And if you think anchovies are the best tasting thing in the world, you might be right. And there might be a world of people that might agree with you, but they're wrong. You're wrong. Don't put them in the cake, right? There's certain things that just don't go together. And this is another problem that I see a lot with cars that would show up to the shop. I mean, people would put like their own twist and their own flavor on these things, and it just looked untasteful. Well, there's no accounting for taste. By the way, the phrase is the customer is always right in matters of taste. That is it. Okay. They're not always right in matters of fact. And that is the difference, right? There's a whole lot more to that phrase than the customer is always right. No, the customer is not always right. They're always right when it comes to matters of taste. And I'm sorry, but your taste may not be what everybody else likes. And when it comes time to get rid of that car and trade up, it's going to make it tough. So the wraps, the crazy loud exhaust, the bling shit under the hood, all of that, don't do it. Just don't. It doesn't add any performance. It doesn't add anything to the value. It makes it look tacky, and it makes it less sellable. And so, again, keep these things in mind when you're looking to build this car, because I'm promising you at some point, you're going to want to trade up. You're going to want to move into something else. So Anyway, these are the types of things that you've got to know when you are looking to drop the kind of coin that it's going to take to get your car to the place that that you're thinking that it's going to get to. And the reality is that if you take my advice, you're going to have a hell of a dime piece of a street car. There is, I put it like this, there is nothing as cherry as a 5.7 Challenger with a clean set of wheels and tires, or a clean wheel and tire stagger setup. That's why I said the 275 45s on the back look really good, even on stock wheels, especially on stock wheels. That sounds good, but it's not loud, right? It's got a good tuned aftermarket exhaust with good long tube headers and a very solid tune. A nice crisp transmission tune to go along with it. It's got the nice tinted windows. Everything is clean. Everything is sharp. You pop the hood, it looks stock. You've got a lot of good going on there. That is cherry. That's a car, by the way, that will damn near, if not run 11-second quarter mile times. Be every bit as quick as like a like an SRT Charger 392 car. It'll be just about as quick as that. So it's at least a low 12-second car. The point that I'm making is that is just a freaking awesome car. Take that and level it up into a Scat Pack. You can do the same thing with that car, and it's just all of the same with a car that has a little bit more traction issues, but is still very cherry nonetheless. Follow the recipe and it'll be fine. But when you start to get too crazy and start just fanning cash at one of these cars, invariably you start to find weak spots. And you start to find weak spots in weird places. You know, you start to go, I'm just like, you do a bunch of cut up exhaust. You didn't necessarily hurt performance, but over time you're like, God, I'm just getting sick of this thing. And now you're going to have to spend money on the car. Or you tried to go cheap with a tune, right? And the car just doesn't necessarily run as good as it should. Look, I can wear this topic completely out, but I think you know where I'm going with this. Spend your money wisely, boys, because this is it for V8 cars. And this is another reason why I wanted to put this out, is that, you know, we got the electric Charger coming, the Charge-E. We got the Charge-E coming, but we also have the Hurricane 6 cars that are coming, right? I'm sorry, I haven't seen the car in person. I have heard that car in person, in the flesh, is a damn good looking car. I wouldn't know. I haven't seen it yet. But I will say this. That car is going to be fast. Make no mistake, with the high output variant and all-wheel drive on the street, it's going to run hella numbers on the street. But it's going to be a 6-cylinder. For many people, that 6-cylinder is not going to be good enough. And I get that. I'm right there with you with it. So if you're going to build one of the Hemi-based cars, I'm just going to ask that you don't do anything stupid. Okay. And when it comes to like, ported throttle bodies and crap like that, don't worry about that for the 5.7. The Fastman through ported throttle body for the 392 is a legit upgrade, though. I would probably go with that. Ported intakes, it depends on the shape of your intake manifold. Don't worry so much about that. Worry more about putting it together the right way, putting it together clean, and having something very nice. And if you build it with that mentality, you're going to come away with a project that not only turns heads, but can break hearts as well. Marco's waiting to get his 6.4 truck back. I don't know, man. Mo's out there putting in work with his 4-wheel drive truck. Check that out. Southern Indiana saying, good evening. I like saying, I don't have a garage and I'm not a mechanic, so I drive a 2021 Challenger 392. When it gets old, I'll trade it in for another one. Yep, the Hellraising cart's nice. Rabbit hole modding, yes. SC Dub is in for Vegas. My man, what is going on? It's been too long since I've been in Vegas. Um, yeah, the 5.7 shaker, Hard Rock saying is intoxicating to drive for sure. Steve said, I'm keeping performance mods on my 2023 Charger RT to a minimum. Only shorty headers, a 309 posi, and perhaps a tune. That's all you need. Hard Rock saying, all of the Mustangs I have beaten, GT350, etc., were from a dig, not roll racing. Roll racing is an autocross sort of thing. Yeah, it is. Hard Rock saying, in the midst of things, it's like you said, B, who cares? It's about the driving experience for me, theater and comfort, for sure. And saying scats are the sweet spot, which they pretty much are. By the way, another reason I don't want to get into the Hellcat side of this because, you know, what ends up happening is, well, the Hellcat's faster. Just because it's faster doesn't mean it's better. It just means that it's faster, or it's, how do I put this? You know, recently with motorcycles, okay, obviously you guys know I've made a huge shift back, you know, into bikes, and my GSXR 1000, it's a perfect example. I am going to have to take gear out of this bike now. It's been tuned. The bike screams. This bike is doing power wheelies in fourth gear with like no problem. At the top of fourth gear, I'm starting to pull the front tires up at 120, 130 miles an hour. So I need to chill it out a little bit. By chilling it out a little bit, it's going to take a lot of the bite out of this bike. Right now, my bike accelerates the way that you would think a 1000cc bike would accelerate like. I need to not have that because it's just doing wheelies everywhere. The Hellcat is a lot like that. It's really fast. It does really fast car stuff, but it doesn't feel fast. My GSXR 1000 will accelerate in fourth gear the way that most motorcycles will accelerate in second. And by the way, all apologies to the kid on the Hayabusa that I smoked on the way home today. Nice bike, by the way. He probably got a little bit freaked out like I did, seeing the old fart going like this at about 110 past him. I didn't think I'd reel him in that quickly, if I'm being honest. But the reality is that that's what the Hellcat is. The Hellcat is kind of like a GSXR 1000 in a world where GSXR 750s really are the better street bike. That is your Scat Pack. And by the way, fun fact, of all the journalists that are out there that are doing riding reviews, of those guys, most of them, believe it or not, don't own a motorcycle. If they do, it's one of a couple today, at least. It's either one of the Royal Enfields or it's a GSXR 750 or both. It's because they're great street bikes. And they can be, in the case of the GSXR 750, great track bikes. They don't own the crazy fast, crazy expensive bikes, even though they could. They don't. And this is why I kind of got rid of Revlon, is because my Hellcat, is because when the track shut down over here, that car became useless to me. What am I going to do? Go 135 or 150 miles an hour every once in a while in a car? Like, for what? It wasn't any more fun anymore. And that's, again, what I'm trying to keep you guys away from. Don't even worry about the Hellcat variants. Stay away from them, because what happens is that you become accustomed to that kind of power, and you become, what's the right way to put it? It's almost jaded in a way, because at that power level and at that platform, you can always pulley it up, different fuel system, different fuel, and it's going to be crazy fast, right? 960s are like cakewalk for pulleyed E85 Hellcats. 980s, 990s are super easy with pulleyed 93 octane cars. So there's that. Okay, think about that for just a second. These are fully streetable cars. You just drive around town. You wouldn't even know that they're a 9-second car, but it's a 9-second car now in a world where 9-second cars, I mean, 9s are the new 12s. It used to be 10s are the new 12s. Now 9s are the new 12s, and nobody really cares anymore. So it was boring. I wanted something that was going to be more me in a lot of ways, and that's why I went with the F-150. Let's Let's see. Ryan saying, I've seen a sweet 2012 Yellow Jacket Challenger SRT8. Very nice. Backyard. What about the 85? You don't need it. The larger throttle body on a 5.7 will give you a little bit more throttle response, but it won't do anything for actual outright power. Yeah, and that's the other thing. Hellcats used to be affordable, if you will. They're not that anymore. They're way overpriced for what they are. Would not do it. Hard Rocks 11 is scat, same. Ryan, the CF Moto 600s are real nice. Skids is in. Got the ball guy with the flex and the shades. I like it. Got the cadence down. Skids saying, nice shirt, B. Yes, thank you. Triumph Motorcycles. So Rock saying, Scats will do 180 miles an hour. Do you really need faster? Probably not. So, guys, those are the do's and don'ts. Now, if you've got a truck, a little bit of a different story. There's a lot of weight you can pull out of a truck. You can turn a truck into a race car pretty quickly just by stripping the thing down. Matt over at Moe's Performance owns every record and knows how to put a great truck together. For me, if I was putting a truck together, I'd just do a car 392, leave everything stock, put a set of long tubes on it, just let it rip. That's what I would do if I had a pickup truck. It'd just be a lot of fun. They said, well, it does heat up with throttle response. A lot of that you can put in a, a lot of that you can adjust in the tune. The other thing about the 5.7, sometimes, not every time, you'll get a little bit of a stutter with a larger throttle body on those cars. And I'm not sure why, because I couldn't tell you. I almost wonder if there was a problem with the throttle body itself. But on several occasions, guys would come in with an aftermarket throttle body or something that'd been done like they tried to do anyway. It never worked out that great on the 5.7. The 6.4s with the Fastman were always fine. You could always go with a Fastman on a 5.7, but it's basically putting that throttle body on a 5.7 is like putting a pedal commander on it. It's going to introduce more air with the same throttle position, but you're not going to see any real power gains out of it. Not even with a cam. Jim Mopar, what's up, buddy? Good to see you in. Saying you're so right. My Charger RT with the road and track package is a way better street car than my Cat, in my opinion. Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing. I mean, I love the Cat. Love the Cat. Couldn't live with the Cat anymore, though. That's the problem. No track for that. And, without, if it wasn't for Jim, my car would have never gone as fast as it did. Without having, and that's the other thing, we're losing tracks left and right in Texas. So it's just, I wanted something I can play with on the street, and the Cat, I just really couldn't do. So, all right, saying your Ford truck is badass. I really like it. Right, so I miss the manuals. Too bad those things really are a thing of the past. Yeah, I agree with that. But with that, guys, listen, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to cut the show off early. I got to get back to work, but just wanted to touch base. Wanted to get a little bit of an old school show for you. Jim, thank you so much for stopping by, brother. Keep me posted if you end up crushing some more records, man. Wanted just to go over this again. Felt like doing an old school show. Post up your comments. If you made it this far into the show, stuff you like. This is just a background noise generator of a show. So, you like it? Subscribe. Please subscribe. It helps the channel a lot. By the way, likes, subscribes, comments, all of that helps the show a ton. And I really do truly appreciate everybody that's taken the time to subscribe, like, share, all that. But yeah, that it really does help the algorithms and all of that. So do that. And then if you like motorcycles, Two Wheel Tuesday, I'll be talking about the tuning process on my bike, how all of that went. I have no footage of it because I lost it, apparently. I don't know how I managed that. But the bike is running great. Looking forward to chatting about that. But with that being said, guys, I got to wrap it up. Get out there and do something cool for somebody. Chances are they need it way more than you know. And I will catch y'all on the next one. Take care, guys.